Hello, my name is Delaney Webb, and this is the Employee Lifecycle Plan I developed for the Bowling Green Medical Center. So these are just the contents of the lifecycle plan. So starting with the human capital needs assessment, and then attraction and recruitment, total rewards program, the learning and development, employee experience, the separation process from the organization, implementation and monitoring, and then the conclusion. So, starting off with the human capital needs assessment, just an overview of the hospital. It's a 337 bed facility. I work with the clinical dietitian team. I did address the whole hospital as my organization for this project, but our goal or our main priority as the dietitians are to provide nutrition care for the patients, and we work with interdisciplinary teams, so the nurses, physicians, all different parts of the hospital. Some of our strategic goals and objectives include assessing each patient per hospital protocol, so all of the goals are driven by the protocol outlined by the organization. One of those is that patients will meet greater than or equal to 60% of their calorie and protein needs. And we provide interventions for patients and follow up per that hospital protocol. We provide nutrition education for patients before they are discharged, and our goal is to equip patients with the tools they need to sustain those dietary changes. So the competency analysis, gaps, and future talent needs. So a big reason for gaps in the organization include changing guidelines and new research, and this is very common in the healthcare field where research comes out all the time and guidelines change. So, and new standards of practice are developed. So one example of that I gave is IDSE, which stands for the International Dysphagia Diet Standardization Initiative, and then I'll get into this more on the next slide. And then education requirements are another thing that cause gaps within the talent needs because, for example, dietitians, they just made a requirement at the beginning of this year to have a master's degree to practice as a dietitian. If you weren't already credentialed as a dietitian. So that is a new requirement for people pursuing that career. And also being able to place feeding tubes. That's becoming more prevalent for dietitians to place feeding tubes. So learning that skill is something a lot of dietitians may not already have, but will need to be familiar with. And then obviously telehealth is increasing as there's an increased prevalence of technology within healthcare. So this is the IDSE I was talking about. So dysphagia basically is just difficulty swallowing. So this is a diet related to the different levels of swallowing ability a patient might have. And before this was introduced in 2019, it was the National Dysphagia Diet, which is what you see on the left side. So a lot of hospitals are still transitioning to the IDSE protocol, which is an example of how there are gaps in healthcare and how a lot of hospitals are still gaining the new protocol and the new standards of practice. So moving on to attraction and the value proposition, I divided the positions between A positions and B positions. So A positions would be your CEOs and CFOs, and they lead the organization toward increased growth, financial stability, and quality improvement. And these roles provide leadership, financial planning, and strategic direction for the whole organization. So CEOs are ensuring that the hospital aligns with its mission and values, and the CFOs manage the financial operations and ensure sustainability across the organization. And then the B positions I identified as nurses and physicians. They provide patient care through the support of operational goals, and they offer their specialized expertise, care, and collaboration. So these roles support the organization's daily functions, um, and they work to improve the health and quality of life of their patients. So for the branding statement I wrote, this is just a way to attract potential employees. It says, at the medical center, we are dedicated to developing a collaborative and innovative environment where every team member feels supported to make a meaningful impact in healthcare. As part of our team, you will have the opportunity to work alongside talented professionals in a collaborative environment that values your contributions and invests in your growth. We empower our employees with opportunities for growth, a culture of teamwork, and the resources needed to deliver exceptional patient care. No matter your role in healthcare, you'll find purpose and fulfillment in advancing our mission to improve the quality of life for the communities we serve. Join a community where your contributions matter and help us to advance the future of healthcare. So, this is just a statement to potentially attract new candidates and new employees, which is one of the earlier steps in the life cycle, employee life cycle. So, on to recruitment of employees. So, we have the talent pipeline. A positions are going to be those highly specialized roles, and it requires candidates with extensive experience. So, due to this, it is a limited talent pipeline, and there's often external recruitment, which is due to the skills and experience that are required for these positions. It's a lot requires a lot more consideration when hiring a position or a candidate for these roles. And then the B positions, there is wide talent available for these roles, but some challenges include burnout, high turnover, and high demand. Um, but there is a lot of nurses and physicians who are seeking employment. Some strategies for this. So, for those A positions, development programs. So, those will help identify and prepare candidates for these roles, especially with um, the limited talent pipeline. Strategic planning, financial management, and then an in depth selection process and interviews to make sure that the candidate is the right fit for the job. And then B positions, enhancing academic collaborations will help ensure a steady supply of qualified professionals for the role. Specialized training programs will help build expertise in the roles, and then screening and interviews will help find the right candidate and assess their leadership style and how they align with the job. Nurses and physicians also prioritize their credentials, certifications, and their overall expertise. Okay, so moving on to the total rewards package. This is for A positions. So the CEOs will be compensated $210,000 annually with performance bonuses. Benefits will include their health insurance, a retirement plan, life and disability insurance, and dental and vision coverage. For the work life balance, they will receive 30 days vacation, 12 sick days, 5 personal days, and 1 to 2 remote work days. And then they will get a $10,000 budget to provide continuing education to the hospital staff. And then for the CFOs, they will be compensated $200,000 annually with bonuses. Um, their benefits are the same as CEOs. Their work life balance, they will receive 25 vacation days, 10 sick days, 5 personal days, and 1 to 2 remote work days. And then they will receive training and development expenses covered by the organization. For the B positions, they will be compensated $223,000 annually with performance bonuses. Benefits are the same. They will receive 25 vacation days, 10 sick days, 5 personal days, and 1 to 2 remote work days a week. And then they will receive training and development expenses that are covered by the organization. For nurses, they will be compensated $90,000 annually with a $5 per hour differential for overtime or night shifts. And then benefits also are the same. Their work life balance, they will receive 25 vacation days, 10 sick days, 5 personal days, and then They will have 3 12-hour shifts a week, but that can be adjusted to be part-time or adjusted shifts as they choose. And then training and development expenses will be covered by the organization. So they are offered these incentives to attract, retain, and motivate top talent and recruit people. And these are each designed to appropriately compensate their roles for each position. So the learning and development and performance management, continuous learning and development will ensure that employees remain adaptable and aligned with the organizational goals and motivated to deliver exceptional patient care. So training sessions are the first step, and those will address technical and operational requirements. So, for example, nurses are trained on the charting systems. They receive training to make sure that they can perform their job effectively. So, they will have access to webinars, workshops, online courses, various training sessions to help prepare them for their role. Post training surveys will be done to assess satisfaction with the training sessions and various aspects of the program. Regular employee feedback will be given to allow employees to continuously improve their skills and be made aware of their job performance. And then employee satisfaction surveys will measure how the employee views the workplace and their overall satisfaction with the workplace. So, this is an example of a post training survey. So, it might ask questions about whether the training was helpful, if it was organized, if it was adequate, just to gauge how well the training was received and what improvements can be made by employers. And then this is an example of an employee evaluation form. So the employer will use this to evaluate their employees and give them feedback on how well they are performing at work. So this is a diagram sort of the performance management system. Um, and that ensures that employees are motivated and aligned with their organizational goals and continuously improving. So this involves things like goal setting, regular feedback, communication training, rewarding of performance. One statistic I found shows that employees report they are 3.6 times more motivated when they received daily feedback from their managers compared to annual feedback. And 85% of employees take more initiative when they receive regular feedback. So that kind of just shows how important it is to receive feedback and how that contributes to continuous improvement for employees. So the employee experience, it involves a rewards program, which we talked about earlier with the total rewards program and how they're compensated. A well-being initiative, and then career progression and advancement. So these are just strategies to prioritize employee growth and enhance individual well-being and performance in the workplace. So for the well-being initiative, this will contribute to improved retention, job satisfaction, and align with the organization's long-term goals of providing exceptional patient care. So, a statistic I found shows that the likelihood of making a major medical error is approximately 50% higher among doctors with high levels of burnout. So, it's important to prioritize the well being of these employees so that they're not making mistakes, especially in a healthcare hospital setting. So, it will address areas such as burnout and mental health, their physical health and working conditions, work life balance, the high turnover rates that are often in hospitals, and financial well being. And then their career progression and advancement. So, this will allow opportunities for promotion, strategic planning, leadership development, and team management. So, for example, a clinical dietitian can progress from an entry level position to a lead clinical dietitian or a clinical nutrition manager. So, having that opportunity for growth and advancement in their career is important and part of employee retention and satisfaction. Now, the separation process, it's a little bit different for voluntary and involuntary separation, but for we'll typically start with a resignation notice with the human resource team. That will help prepare for a smooth exit. Employees should complete their ongoing projects and transfer their knowledge to their coworkers so that none of the processes are disrupted after they leave. And they should conduct any trainings with those employees. And they will also usually have an exit interview to discover the reason for leaving and identify any patterns. So, this should be a smooth process just to make sure everything can run smoothly after they leave, and that all the knowledge and training is done before they leave. Um, for involuntary separation, you usually take a different approach to maintain respect and professionalism. So you will collect the knowledge quickly and efficiently. Exit interviews do usually still happen to reveal gaps in management practices or operational processes that may have contributed to that separation. But overall, you're just focusing on making a quick, smooth transition. So, onto the implementation and monitoring of this program. It's done in phases. So, phase one will focus on the attraction, recruitment, and onboarding of employees. So, targeted recruitment campaigns will attract diverse and qualified candidates, and a comprehensive onboarding program will be developed to introduce new hires to the Med Center's values, culture, and operational processes. And we will use key performance indicators to measure these phases and how well it's being implemented. So that'll be KPIs such as time to fill, an onboarding satisfaction rate, retention rates for new employees, and then aiming for a retention rate of at least 95% for new hires in the first 6 months. So that will kind of show us how well employees are satisfied and if they're retaining those positions. Phase two will focus on the employee development and engagement. So that'll be focusing on fostering continuous growth and engagement among the staff and supporting their well being. So that will include career development programs, skill assessment, and the wellness initiative. And that will be measured through employee engagement scores, internal promotion rates, training completion rates, and the goal is a target of 30% of internal promotions and 100% engagement in at least one professional development program annually. Phase three will focus on performance management and retention. So the system will be aligned with the Med Center's values and mission to encourage employees to contribute to patient care, quality improvement, and teamwork. So that may include performance appraisal system, regular feedback, and retention strategies. Some retention strategies could include stay interviews, competitive compensation, and wellness programs. And that will be measured through performance rating distribution, employee turnover rates, and stay interviews. The goal is a turnover of less than 15% annually and an engagement score of 85% or higher from employees that stay. And then lastly, phase four is the offboarding and knowledge transfer. So this is where an offboarding process will be implemented for both voluntary and involuntary separations, including the exit interviews and knowledge transfer. So the goal is that, or this will be measured through knowledge transfer success rates, exit interviews, participation rates, and performance continued performance continuity. And then the goal is to ensure 100% of critical roles have a successful knowledge transfer with at least 90% participation in exit interviews. Okay, so that includes the employee life cycle plan. It's designed to be aligned with the hospital's goals and to support its mission and values to deliver exceptional patient care. So, thank you so much for watching.